Hello, everyone, and welcome to the three shields of the ego: guilt, blame, and shame. So, first, let's look at what a shield does. A shield protects you and separates you from harm, or what you believe would cause you injury. That's what a shield does. Okay, and so guilt, blame, and shame actually keep you from something that isn't dangerous, something that isn't harmful, something that isn't terrible or awful. These shields actually keep you separated from the truth of who you are. And it also keeps you separated from coming together with others in whatever way, in however you wish to do so. And so, if we look at these, they are emotions. They are energy in motion, or at least that's how I have come to see them. And they are natural. They're going to happen. It's okay that you feel guilty. It's okay that you feel shameful. It's okay that you want to blame yourself or you want to blame others. That's okay. But we have to realize that these emotions, like I said, are energy in motion. We are simply to acknowledge it, accept it, release it, and move on to a new emotion. But what we tend to do is instead of acknowledging it, sometimes we hide it. Instead of accepting it, sometimes we deny it and then project it onto others. Sometimes instead of letting it go, we harbor it. And we harbor it for a long time. So, when it comes to guilt, okay, there's actually a beautiful part from A Course in Miracles that I want to read to you guys about guilt. Okay? And it actually comes from chapter 13, section 2, the sinless Son of God. Now, once again, A Course in Miracles is simply a channeled material, and it uses very Christian words in very non-traditional Christian ways. If you don't like that it says God, that's okay. You can replace it with whatever you choose to say your higher power is. You can call it God, you can call it love, you can call it divine wisdom, you can call it divine intelligence, you can call it divine love, you can call it the source field. Whatever it is you want to say your higher power is. This just simply uses the word God. That's it. So, the ultimate purpose of projection is always to get rid of guilt. Yet, characteristically, the ego attempts to get rid of guilt from its viewpoint only. For as much as the ego wants to retain guilt, you find it intolerable, since guilt stands in the way of your remembering God, whose pull is so strong that you cannot resist it. On this issue, then, the deepest split of all occurs. For if you are to retain guilt, as the ego insists, you cannot be you. Only by persuading you that it is you could the ego possibly induce you to project guilt and thereby keep it in your mind. Yet consider how strange a solution the ego's argument is. You project guilt to get rid of it, but you are actually merely concealing it. You do experience the guilt, but you have no idea why. On the contrary, you associate it with a weird assortment of ego ideals, which the ego claims you have failed. Yet, you have no idea that you have failed, or that you are failing the Son of God by seeing him as guilty, believing you are no longer you. You do not realize that you are failing yourself. And when I read that, I remember it was such a big aha moment for me. I was like, oh my gosh, the more guilt that I keep or project onto, any other person, I'm really putting up a shield and saying, no, I am not the holy child of God. I am not love. I was not created in love. Obviously, I was just created, in guilt. because I am guilty, because I am terrible. And then, projecting that out and seeing once again, everyone is separate. And that's all that these shields want to do. They want to keep you separate. And not only that, all three of these shields also have something else in common. Not only projection to say, I want to get rid of this, I want to get rid of this, here, take it, take it, take it, I'm going to put it onto you. Not only that, sometimes we don't do that. Sometimes, we do hold on to it for ourselves, but it also keeps us in the past because we think, well, if I hold on to this shame, then I am never going to do what I did before because I felt so shameful about it. We're believing that it's protecting us. It is not protecting us. It is separating you from the truth of who you are. It is separating you from everyone else, and it is separating you from the present moment by keeping you in the past. Like I said, it's natural to feel these emotions. It's okay to feel these emotions. But what we have to do, like I said, we acknowledge, we accept, and then instead of project or instead of to keep them or to conceal them, we simply let them go and we move on. And I know I already hear my own ego in my own head saying, well, that's easier said than done. And that is actually an ego device that says, well, it's a really pretty idea, but I'm not going to practice it. That's what that really means. But we have to be determined to practice. Now, how can we practice getting rid of guilt, getting rid of blame, getting rid of shame? The one thing that I have found to be the most useful tool is forgiveness. And you just have to forgive yourself. Be willing to forgive yourself. Be willing to forgive others. Be willing to see them as the truth of who they are so you can remember the truth of who you are. Put down the shield because that shield is only up because you believe it is protecting you from harm. You believe that it is going to protect you from something outside of you. But once you put it down, you realize that beyond your shield is not a battlefield, but a beautiful meadow full of lilies and full of other people with shields over their heads, thinking that they're in battle. But really, all they're doing is running into each other blind. That's what the clinks are. That's what the pressure is. It's us not wanting to really connect, not wanting to see ourselves as separate. That's what all those clinks and batters and bruises are all of us running around with these shields over our eyes, seeing the past and running into other people who are doing the exact same. So my invitation is number one, accept, acknowledge, and let it go and forgive. Forgive, forgive, forgive. And when you think you've forgiven everything, forgive some more. Because that is the key that I have found to my happiness, to my peace, is by letting those things go. Allowing them to just flow through and be like, okay, It's not it's not serving me anymore because that's the other part that we keep the shields because we find value in them. We think they are valuable. We think that once again, they're protecting us. The guilt is not protecting you. The shame is not protecting you. The blame is not protecting you. It is keeping you from the truth. So, once again, my invitation, drop the shield. How do we drop the shield? By acknowledging, by accepting, and then by releasing, which means forgiveness. And a great way to forgive, this is something I have learned. I absolutely love it. I've learned it from several Course in Miracles teachers. I think they all kind of have the same ideology around it. And we can do a quick one right here. So I want everyone, because I know that when I said, guilt or blame or shame, that you either have it in yourself or you have projected it on to other people, which is fine. We've all done it. And I want you to bring those people, that person, that one person up that you are just really blaming for things. Like you are just like, oh my God, it is all your fault. Okay? And what I ask that you do is you just take that deep breath. Let's all do it together on the count of three. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Breathe in through the nose as deeply as possible. Just holding it and then just letting it out the mouth. Okay? And I want you to see that person, and I want you to go ahead. And I want, as you see that person in your mind, I want you to see like little thought bubbles around them. And I want you to go ahead and I want you to put everything that you blame this person for. Everything. I don't care what it is, how many years it's been. I want to see all those things that you blame them for. Okay? Just let it all come up. And just continue to breathe as you do this. Don't stop breathing. Continue to breathe as deeply as you can. Okay? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to walk through that projection. I want you to walk through that person. Okay? Because that's just our projection. Okay? And what I want you to see is on the other side, there's actually this little ball of light. And that's actually the truth of who they are, that pure, beautiful, glowing ball of light. And then I want you to realize that you are also that same beautiful ball of glowing, loving light. And instead of seeing two separate balls, I want you to merge with that other ball of light. There may be some resistance, and that's okay. Breathe. Breathe. Because you're joining with the light that you are. Okay? And as you are shining that light, what I want you to do, I want you just to visualize this beautiful column of golden light either coming down around them or maybe from the projector. And I want you to see all of those things that you blamed them for, all of those things that you said they did. And I want them all to just be erased. I want them to just be a clean slate. Okay? And if you can, if you've ever seen them, I want you to see them smiling happily, not connivingly, not meanly, not like a wolf, but just a nice, gentle smile. Because that's the truth of them. And what I would invite you to say, okay, once again, just an invitation, you do not have to, but you can say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Okay, then we're going to take a deep breath. Then we're going to go ahead and say, you are forgiven. I am forgiven. We are forgiven. Okay, another deep breath. Okay, then I want you or invite you to say that you are free. I am free. We are free. Okay, deep breath. And then I will invite you to say, you can be happy. I can be happy. We can be happy. Harmony is restored. Okay, and then I want you to take a deep breath. And I want you to just do your best to smile as genuinely as you can. Just smile. Okay? And there we go. There is your way that you can begin that process. You can do that with blame. You can do that with guilt. You can do that with shame. You can do that with all of that stuff. Those three big shields, you can go ahead and do that. So I send you all of my love, and I thank you so much for joining me, and I thank you so much for participating. Because in doing so, not only have you healed yourself, you have helped to heal the world.